Your own personal AI assistant with a voice powered by the world's fastest inference Groq. Please follow along as I build this in this video. What if you could build your own open source model version of an AI agent chatbot, costing 3 times less than any other provider out there? Stay with me and I promise you will be able to learn how to build this in less than 10 minutes. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing a little bit about how I built an AI voice agent powered by Groq and Kokoro, which is an open source voice model. So what we're going to do is we're going to guide you through a bit more about the reasons as to why, the reasons also as to what got me to this point, and finally where we're going to go with what next steps look like. So firstly, the reason why I started this project was I run a successful application of a persona AI powered chatbot called Gary. Now Gary has been really supportive and instrumental in my journey, particularly in supporting many other developers who struggle obviously from a commercial standpoint and value proposition. That's what he does. He helps people turn their ideas into more value proposition. Now, with that being said, Gary is only responding at the moment via messages. So we wanted to think of a better way of how to, give him a voice. That's the best way to describe it. And the simplest way to enable that is via a voice agent. Now, a voice agent sometimes can be incredibly complex and can help, change different things. So if we go into a little bit more detail as to what's happening and what's going on here. So we've got firstly the user. So that would be the first, obviously, message that's being sent via voice. So just the way I'm speaking to you right now. So the voice is being sent to the AI agent. It then goes to what we call a LiveKit instance. Now, LiveKit is an amazing platform that basically handles the majority of the complexity of voice. There's many challenges involved when it comes to voice. There's obviously some things like, just to name a few, the challenges of voice are audio compression, latency, WebSockets, all of these complexities that is mainly, in my opinion, some people may require a PhD or you might even need to learn about telecommunications. It really is a whole different world where I've attempted it before and I've came to the realization this is way too complex. So what LiveKit does really well is they handle all of that. What you can do is you can even set up yourself via LiveKit Cloud, which is their, in my opinion, slightly, freemium tier where you have to pay a bit more if you want to spend and use it to an extent, or you could actually deploy your own LiveKit instance, which is available on their GitHub and on their website. Now for this tutorial and for this session, I'm actually going to be deploying it via LiveKit Cloud, as it's very straightforward and a lot faster for this proof of concept, and you're more than welcome to follow along and do that. So then once the LiveKit agent is set up, it then goes on to Groq. So Groq is a very fast AI computer company. And what they specialize in are incredibly fast chips, LPE chips, so a completely different architecture to all these other companies. And as a result, they actually are now servicing and they're running their own inferences. So with that being said, I'm using Groq's Whisper speech-to-text model. So that's a model that is trained on converting speech into text. That's the simplest way to describe it. So what's happening already is the user sends that through. Then the next step is the LLM chatbot. So once the speech is converted to text, that then gets sent to an LLM chatbot that I set up in the LiveKit agent with a prompt. And that LLM chatbot really explains and describes what is happening. And I will show you shortly about that. And then finally, Kokoro text-to-speech API. So that's where the actual chatbot sends the response from the user's request to Kokoro. And then Kokoro converts that response from text to speech into a trained voice also as well. And finally, we get an output to the user. So there's quite a couple of steps here. It can, as you can imagine, get quite complicated. So it was a tremendous challenge for me to get to this point, but you are more than welcome to follow along. So what you need to first do is you need to set up LiveKit. Once you set up LiveKit, you then need to set up Groq integration with LiveKit. So that's where Groq has kindly shared the documentation to do that, which I will show you shortly. And then what you need to do after all of that is you need to set up Kokoro as an OpenAI compatible fast API endpoint. Now again, this is all available as resources on this call. Here is a documentation here from Groq's team. So you can see you can install it via the LK, which is a command line interface. You just create the clone of the pipeline agent. So we've got three separate terminals. So we've got terminal 1, which is going to be the LiveKit backend with Groq text-to-speech. And then we've got terminal 2, which is the LiveKit front end. So that's going to be the front end for you to be actually testing this. Then we've got terminal 3, which is the Kokoro voice text-to-speech Dockerized fast API endpoint. Now, by the time you'll probably get to this point, you may feel like this is quite a lot of steps, but not to worry, I'm guiding you through all of this. And this is just the LiveKit env file that you need to have, and this is the Kokoro one, and this is just a little bit more about the endpoint and what you can do. So here we are. So I'm running all of this on a code space. So the first thing I'm going to run, which is quite straightforward, is I'm actually going to run the Kokoro fast API endpoint. So it's just downloading the Docker file with that one command. I'm doing all of this on code spaces. Now, while this is running, all I did was I went to this GitHub repo, Kokoro fast API. Thank you again, Remski. Really appreciate you setting this up, which again is open source. So what Remski's done really kindly is he's basically set up Kokoro, the voice model, onto a fast API endpoint. And it even has a really cool front end, which I'll show you shortly. And then if you go to the quickest start, which is the one I'm using, you just do docker run and copy that command. And if you want to run it on GPU, if you are GPU rich, you can actually run it on this command, and that will run it on NVIDIA GPUs. If we go back, that's it, it's done. As you can see, the application is running on port 880. Look, we get a nice little thing. So if we say, okay, well, let me look at the web player. So what you do is you go to the docs, and these are the OpenAI compatible API endpoints. That's for this text-to-speech, so you can accept MP3, and these are all the different ones. And if you want, you can also have, as you can see, there's a front end where you can actually test. If you're running this on localhost, you can actually test the different voices. So now we've got that set up, we're moving on to the next step. And the next step is running the front end. So I've set everything up here already. So we've got the voice demo, and then we've got the front end. So let's set up the actual voice demo first. So you can see I've got the env local here for your side. I've shared the instructions. So if you look at my instructions on this document, you can actually see that if I scroll down, so we're going to go to the front end. So we need to set up the virtual environment. So let's go to first Gary voice demo to get to the LiveKit. And we'll go here. Then we will set it up. So now the LiveKit agent is running. Amazing, as you can see. And as you can see, I'm based in the UK, and it's actually found me the nearest instance for latency near me. So you can see it's set up node London, which is great. So that's it. So we've got the LiveKit instance running, we've got the Docker running, and now the next step is we're going to have the actual front end running. So for the front end, let's cd to Gary voice demo, which is just the command to take you to the folder. Then we're going to cd to the Gary voice front end. And then finally, we're going to run the front end. Hi, how's it going?
I'm doing well, thanks. How can I help you today?
Who made you?
I was created by Noah, the AI expert.
So yeah, that's the amazing part. Now, what else can you tell me about Noah?
Noah is an AI expert who developed Born and Brand's agents framework, which I'm a demo of.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So there, we stopped it. So if we go back to our actual instances, we can then see on the terminal, we can see that's running the front end. We can see the LiveKit, running through on the log. You can see the speech IDs. You can see the responses. You can actually see on the Docker side, see the requests that are coming in for Kokoro voice. And from a perspective of what I changed, so in the actual LiveKit code base, all I've done is I've made two small tweaks. So I followed just a simple documentation that came from Groq. So really appreciate that, the team at Groq. And here you literally just copy and paste what they've asked of you. And you just put it in to, to this agent.py, and you replace that. And then what I've done is in the code base, I've added a very simple integration, which is I've changed the prompt for the chatbot. So this is where you create the prompt. So it says, You're an AI assistant created by Noah Santoni, for an AI expert. And then for the actual connection for the voice side, you can see instead of OpenAI, I've put Kokoro TTS equals OpenAI TTS. And then you can see there. So now I've put OpenAI, and then I've set that up there. Model equals TTS, compatible LiveKit, and then for the voice, I've chosen AM Michael. If you actually look at the Kokoro Fast API documentation, there's many different voices. So if I go to Docker, CPU, there it is, voices. So these are all the voices. A stands for American, F stands for female, and then obviously Eric is a male. We've even got Santa Claus. We've got many different ones, so you can choose from. They're just .pt as well. Yeah, so that's what I was going to go over. And then now from a perspective of what's happening here, so you get to choose. So here I've put in the Groq model. I've chosen the Distill Whisper Large v3. So if we go to the Groq documentation and we look at models, you can see immediately, there it is, Whisper Large v3en, and then I've gone Whisper Large v3. You can see the developer is OpenAI. It's an open source version. As I told you already, Groq is a compute company, but now they're also doing inference, so they're doing API setup. The agent should be polite and greet the user when it joins. How can I help you today? Allow interruptions true. And that's about it, really. Join me in the next video, as I'll be sharing how you can train your own image model on yourself.